Hey, we're back, everybody. Looks like we're good to go, and we don't want to leave out our Twitter audience, Dan, because that's kind of our biggest pot, if you know what I mean. So we are good to go. We're back. Happy Thanksgiving. We are live. It's the DraftKings Over Under Show, or the Over Under Podcast, and we're on YouTube. We're on Twitter, and it's the day after Thanksgiving Eve, so that would be Thanksgiving. And there's a lot. I don't want to waste much time, Dan.
Okay.
You were one of those guys last night who went out?
I was one of those guys who went out. Different crew, different type of year. We did not go local. This was not a local Wayland party or anything like that. This was from back in the day. Actually, to be fair, I went out with Wayland people. But it was just like kind of going out, having fun. I am in a little bit of a rough shape this morning compared to maybe a normal Saturday morning. But I have Thanksgiving lunch coming up in a couple hours, and waking up early. I'm going to put in my bets. So let's go. I am ready. I'm ready. I did all my research before. I had a little bit of fun last night.
Well, Dan, false start for Joe.
False start for Joe. I agree with that.
As Captain Caveman says, 5-yard penalty on the first play of the game. I hope that's not the way it's going to start today.
That's the coaching right there, bro.
that is actually. I blame the tech. You know what? I blame the technical team, but the coach may have hired the technical team. So
it's the coaching, man.
That's a coaching move. All right. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. All right. I dipped the toe in the college basketball a little bit. Dan, you had Appalachian State yesterday, second half. I looked at it, +3. I looked at it and I said, huh. They ended up covering. They ended up hitting. Yep. So I tailed a lift shots pick and it worked, everybody. Believe that? And you know what the funny thing was? If I lost, I would have blamed myself.
You should have blamed me. You should have absolutely blamed me.
No, I wouldn't have. I would, because it's my fault. I saw the Appalachian State, and I went, wow. They went on a run, too, out of the gate, and then they tanked. But anyways, I love how people are asking us the picks for the CMBC High game today.
Let me see if there are high school football lines out. There have been in the past, and I don't know what we have. So there's Michigan high school football. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing anything local yet. But if you give me a few minutes, I'll scroll.
20 years ago, I could do this easily. I could boom. From what I hear, CM's very good this year. I think they even might be Super Bowl ridden this year, or possible, whatever you call that. Yeah, CM's a wagon. When I played, they ended up getting a kid who went to BC, LV Whitworth. He played running back, I think, after Derek Knight did. And but whatever. That's I don't know many people that CM known as a hockey school for those who care. Anyways, I went to a Starbucks. It was easy peasy today. So I don't know if people are on the roads because they got rid of like a lot of Thanksgiving football, which is bullshit anyways.
Horrible.
But let's get into it today, Dan. I mentioned college basketball. There's a nooner today, everybody, because NFL starts at 12:20, right?
12:30ish, whatever.
All right, 12:30. Give us a whole half. We get to watch, because I don't do Macy's Day Parade and all that shit. I used to think it was cool. Now,
I don't do it.
Last year, I saw this like Broadway of Jagged Little Pill. Alanis Morissette was the worst thing I ever fucking saw. Anyway, about some picks, because this first game, Uconn, Michigan State. I'm licking my chops. Talk me off it. I love Michigan State as a 2-point dog early. Here's what Uconn went into overtime. Their best player fainted on the sideline. Michigan State played these guys just a couple of years ago and won by 20. Like, the Uconn program, I know it's coming back around, but to me, this is a Big Ten beatdown today.
Yeah, give me an early PP. Look at this, Joey Murray. You and I agree. I love Michigan State +2. Here, again, very similar reasonings. You're having a very good team. Look, I'm not here to fade UConn. This is not a UConn fade. They're incredibly deep. Their bench is incredibly deep. What they're going to be able to put out rotationally this year is impressive. That being said, coming off a overtime game, and that was a battle. I mean, Auburn got up to a big lead. UConn comes all the way back. and then they get out to a big lead, and Auburn comes all the way back. So that game was back and forth. It was a battle, emotional. And Michigan State have a very similar game, but they don't go into that overtime period. They get a winner right at the end. To me, Michigan State, pretty undervalued in this spot. I did take Loyola live yesterday, and I thought the line was a little bit high. It goes 6.5, 7. It just ticked up a little bit too much. I like Michigan State pregame here. I think you'll probably be able to get something live on this game. You'll probably be able to kind of go back and forth again. I do think that these are two teams that are very streaky, and yeah, Joe, I love Michigan State today. Early on, I fully agree. This is one I circled last night. I'm in on Michigan State.
Why is Uconn favored? Just because they're the ranked team?
I think Uconn is. I think people consider Uconn the better team. I think they're pretty similarly built in terms of talent. I think Uconn probably does have a little bit of a deeper rotation this early in the season, and look, the top end talent is probably slightly towards Uconn. That being said, I think Michigan State is a better team. And I think when you see these wild, drastic runs like you did yesterday, you kind of have you kind of understand that. And look, there's going to be, it's a game of runs, so there's going to be runs in college basketball, but the wild swings that are down big lead, back to tie, big, those can be very draining on a team. While Michigan State was up a little, was up decently early, which happens early. Loyola came right back, and that game was close till the end. I mean, it was back and forth and back and forth. And, that to me, that's a sign of a team that's a little bit better, maybe a little bit more well-suited to play together. So, look, it's early in the season, not a big play, but I like Michigan State, especially with Uconn off the overtime game. And, I like the spot today. I like the team as well, which is rare.
Malik Hall, that's my guy. That's the guy I'm going to follow early on today from Michigan State. Only thing that concerned me about Michigan State quickly is they had 20 turnovers. They still hung on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they're big down low. I watched most of the Uconn-Auburn game yesterday. Auburn came back. Uconn had a lead. It was Auburn that, really set the tone. And, again, Uconn, I think, ran out of gas a little bit, but got the game winner. And now they got to get up early the next day and play a team that got to watch them. You know what I mean? So give me the 2 points early on in that one. Just circling the college basketball board, Auburn Loyola today. Auburn's a 3-point favorite. You'll get to see Baylor in action. They're legit. They're going up against VCU today.
Did you see what happened with Baylor last night, by the way? So I was on Arizona State. A bunch of people were on either 12 and a half, 13, on Twitter. Baylor was up 26 in the second half, and that game looked like a wrap. It looked like Baylor was going to pull away, and Arizona State went on a run, and the game landed 12, Joe Murray. So if you got 12, you pushed, and you should feel lucky on both sides for pushing, winning, etc. I was lucky enough to win with the 13, and man, Baylor last night really disappointed me. I wonder if that team is still trying to figure out how to win down the stretch, especially after last year losing the talent they did. We're gonna find it again versus VCU today. I gotta tell you, I'm probably not gonna give out VCU today, but it's definitely the side that I lean early on. Again, Baylor, just those wild stretches, pretty crazy. But hey, there actually is a lot of good college basketball today. You just talked about the Baylor VCU game, Joe. Here's another one that's kind of under the radar a little bit. Maryland-Richmond is a game that's kind of under the radar a little bit. Richmond is maybe not getting the respect that they deserve. Maryland, obviously, being a pretty good college basketball team. They've had a interesting start to the year. I think that's the best way to put it so far. They're 1-point faves today against Richmond. I don't know how I feel about that. Now it's in Nassau, it's Bahamas. It's a neutral site game. I wouldn't be surprised if Richmond pulled that one out. It just feels like Maryland. They're 4-1. I'm not trying to talk down about Maryland, but the way they lost George Mason and they did pull out a Hofstra win, which they were down big the most of that game. I just don't know the top end talent on this team, and I feel like this could be a Richmond spot. And then we have a couple more. Belmont Drake for people who love, maybe not the powerhouse teams.
Yep.
Really good. Yep. Drake continues their ridiculous against the spread record. They have covered, they beat South Dakota by 45 points. They beat Richmond and covered by either half a point or pushed. So, right now, 3-0 the year, and 2-0 against the spread. One of the games is against a non-listed team. And then Arizona State, Syracuse, the losers of last night's game versus Baylor and VCU face off today. Syracuse right now -2. Again, I'm going to take a look at this Syracuse team. I was on VCU last night. I don't really get the whole Syracuse thing. I get the Boeheim angle and whatever, but when they beat Drexel, they beat Lafayette. When they played the two tougher teams so far, Colgate and VCU, they have lost by 15 and 12 respectively. I know Arizona State is not exactly the most talented elite team in the world, and I'm not here to tell you that I love them, but I'd be on the lookout potentially for maybe me adding Arizona State. They have struggled early on. The Riverside loss by a point was bad, but a loss, at San Diego State and a loss home versus Baylor. I mean, those are very tough teams to play against. Both of them very sound. So I think the record might be a little bit, deflated from what they actually are towards the mean. I would expect to see some regression. I like Arizona State too.
All right, man. Well, keep your eyes peeled to Twitter today if you're out and about. I know we're gonna be busy. I know everyone's from like 4 to 6. I'm kind of tuned out. You know what I mean? So
fair enough. I'm tuned out from like 1 to 3:30. So
hey, there we go. We're picking up the old slack there, Dan. All right, let's get into the NFL then.
Here we go.
There's college football too, so we'll save. So I know we like a game later tonight, Dan. But
yep.
All right, let's just talk it out. I'm gonna throw trends out the window and all that.
Oh, you can't throw Joey trends out the window on Thanksgiving, man. Gotta be thankful for them trends.
The biggest trend of them all is 70%. 70%. If I told you I gambled at 70%, you'd tell me I'm a liar.
I'd tell you I would tell everything that you fucking put out there.
All right, but let's just think about it. They cover at a 70% rate. So first game, Chicago, Detroit. You know how people say it's funny. I was on with my buddy Chris last night. He does a show, and he kept saying, we like the Lions. We like the Lions. And I just kept hearing, like the Lions? What is there to like about the Lions? What is there to like about them? What do they do? They can't throw the football. They run the ball with Swift every single play. Like, the coach is emotional. They got no Trey Flowers today. Their defense stinks. What do you like about the Lions besides the fact that they lose and you bet against them and you win? You know what I mean? What do you like about the Lions? So that's what it's left me with today, Dan. I like Chicago because they won last game by running the football in David Montgomery. Like, Dalton came in out of relief last week and threw 2 touchdowns and gave that offense momentum. Like, they're finding ways to win without Allen Robinson and Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks in this. I'm not saying they're a great team, but when the Bears play bad teams, they win. Their last 5 against teams that are losing records, they're 4-1 against the spread. Look at their schedule. They beat every team they should. They should beat the Lions today. And if it's 3 points or less, I'm taking the Lions, and I know it's maybe the Lions are the square. Maybe the Lions square. I don't know. I'm just saying I'm taking the Bears today.
Are you PP in that, Joe Murray?
Yep, PP. Chicago Bears minus
2.5.
2.5.
Minus 2. It's 2.5 everywhere now. It's no longer 3. It's 2.5 everywhere. Well, Joe Murray, we have something to be very thankful for, I guess, for our listeners, because give me a double PP. It's the Bears minus 2.5, and there's only one play today. Look, I like what the Lions are going to do. They're going to be able to move the football. They're not. I mean, but the problem is here's the biggest problem with taking with the Lions. Okay, divisional opponents, when they played Chicago, the 24-14 game was not close. Now, very different teams since then. I think Detroit has actually played significantly better since that point. Lose to the Vikings by 2 on the road. They lost to You know, the Steelers a couple weeks ago on the road, tied at 16, lost to the Browns 13-10. Are you noticing a trend here? They play extremely well on the road. Their closest home loss this year was to the Ravens, 19-17. They gave up 41 at home to the Niners. They gave up 34 at home to the Bengals. They gave up 44 at home to the Eagles. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's Detroit. It's depressing. No one likes to be there. But playing at home for this Detroit team has not gone well for this season. And even against the divisional opponents, it's not something I really want to look for, or not something I really want to follow. Everyone's going to be on the Bears, or everyone's going to be on the Lions today, just due to the fact of the coaching issues, everything that's going on there. It's a disaster. But let me tell you, Andy Dalton is an upgrade right now. Not saying in the future, right now, on Justin Fields. There is no question about that. When Justin Fields left that game, the Bears came in, scored right away. Now, it was a screen pass. Darnell Mooney made a great play. That's not credit to Dalton, but the point is that this team played better under Dalton the rest of the game after Fields was gone. There's no argument in that. Regardless of what you want to say, Dalton is the better quarterback today than Justin Fields is. Right this second. Doesn't mean tomorrow or next year or the year after that. I'm just saying right now. So to me, that's an upgrade. That is a legitimate upgrade. And as much as the Detroit Lions have been really good the last 2 weeks, get a tie versus Steelers, so no 0-17. Congratulations to Lions fans. You, Joey Knish out there. The Browns 13-10 last week. They played well. They came back in that game after being down 13-0. I don't see it today. I think this is going to be a game of actually a lot of offense. I also like the over 41.5. That's a play. That's also going to be a play of mine. I'm not going to PP it, but that's something I'm going to be on as well. And yeah, listen, I think that these teams are going to have to come out and actually move the football. I think right now you're legitimately seeing a coach play for his life. I know that the players don't give a shit about him, but they do care about the Thanksgiving game. They do. The players for it's all the NFL players. They care about playing on Thanksgiving. So regardless of how you feel about Nagy and the players wanting to play for the guy, I do think that this is kind of a different animal because of everyone wanting to play in the spotlight, everyone wanting to play on Thanksgiving. Everyone knows that the Lions play on Thanksgiving. That's a given every year. It's not a given that a certain team like the Bears or et cetera will play every year. The Saints, the Bills, whatever. So I think it's a little bit exciting. I think it's a little bit of a nice little uptick for those guys, and maybe one of the only few they have all year. And yeah, I really like the Bears -2.5 today. The fact that it's down to 2.5, the sharp money, the public money is coming in on Detroit. There's no question about it. But the influential money likes Detroit. I can't argue with that. But I'm going Chicago, and I like that quite a bit.
All right, I kind of lean the under. I'm not going to touch it. I lean under. Weird things can happen on these days. So I'm not touching it. But you might remember this one, Dan. Last year, I took the team total under for the Lions, right?
You did.
How'd I lose? Do you remember?
I do not remember, no.
2-point conversion at the end of the game.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm thinking about going back for my money.
Back to that team total under well.
I see Lions 19.5 team total right now.
Yeah, I think that goes over. I think that goes over. I do. I think I would probably go over 19.5. I think this is going to be a competitive game, Joe.
In that case, the over then, right? Because if you think they go, if they go over 19.5, then 41's the.
Yep. I like the over as well. That is correct.
I'll never forget that, man. I was cruising, and then that was the first loss I had in a year, 2 years, something like that. Man, that was Thanksgiving's been very, very good to me.
It has been.
I'm all in today. I'm betting college, NFL. I'm everywhere today. It's a national holiday, literally. So let's do it. And then if you really want a trend, and this is one that stands out to me. I already mentioned it to you.
Ooh, Joey Trends, baby.
Bears, they're 4-1 the last 5 against teams with losing records. Again, if you look at their schedule, they beat teams that they should, and I think today is a day for them. And now the Bears in the last 7 meetings are 5-2 against the spread. So, want to throw that one out there. All right, we got Vegas going to Dallas. 5-5, 7-3. Dallas 4-1 at home. They had that one stinker. Oh no, they lost the opening game right at home.
Yep.
Yeah. But they're very good against the spread. So forget about the number 7, Dan, or 7.5. I've kind of taken that out of the equation because the more I look at this game, the total opened at 50.5. It's now gone to 51, some places 51.5. So it kind of makes me think over off the bat by the number. It doesn't mean I like the over for the game or anything. It's just when I see the number, I think over. And I do think that Vegas can put up points on Dallas's defense. I think Dallas is definitely going to put up points today. Like, definitely. Now, the Raiders as a road underdog have been very good. 4-1 against the spread as a road underdog. So I wanted to at least throw that out there. When it comes to the trends, when they're off a loss, Dan, they're 7-2. Now, did they win? They won last week? No, they did. Right.
They have not covered the past 3 weeks.
There you go. So they lost to the Bengals last week, and it was kind of bad.
Off the Chiefs loss, off the Giants loss.
Yeah. So when they're an underdog on the road, the under has been 7-3. So I know when I see the number start at 5, I immediately think over on a total. And then after a loss, they're 3-1-1 to the under. But overall, their last 16 games, a full season's worth as an underdog, dating back to last year in the first 10 games of this year, 11 games, the over's 11-4-1 in all the Raiders games.
Yeah, I agree with that side as well. I also like the over. It is a little bit sharp. You're seeing it tick up as well. We're seeing some 51s and a halves pop up. So the influential money is coming in on the over there. To be fair, look, the side to me is tough. I really didn't think CeeDee Lamb was going to play this game. He got cleared yesterday. It was a mild to major surprise by me. The fact that guy took his head bounced off the turf in that end zone. I'm stunned that they have cleared him for the game today. Honestly, stunned that he's playing. Vegas has really struggled the last few games, and if you're looking at a favorite today to get right, Dallas was bad last week. I think we can all agree that Dallas was bad on the road last week.
And Dan, just to your point, no touchdowns for that team.
Nothing. 9 points, 3 field goals, no touchdowns. Dallas looked horrible. I mean, really, and let's give credit to Kansas City's defense. They shut them down. I mean, it was a schematic. It was a schematic stop, and the way that they designed everything. The obviously the loss of Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, very helpful. I don't think anyone can argue that those guys are, are key cogs, and not having them, extremely surprising. But look, Cooper's obviously is not playing, so he's out for the game. There's a bunch of guys missing right now. Lamb, it sounds like he's going to play, so it's going to be Lamb and Gallup who are going to be the main targets for Dallas early in that game. Again, I'm just going to say this. I think Dallas is going to put up some big numbers today. Coming off that performance at Kansas City, this is a get-right spot at home versus a team who really has been struggling, not just defensively either, offensively. 16 against the Giants, 14 against the Chiefs, 13 against the Bengals. Unacceptable if you're the Las Vegas Raiders with the offensive weapons that you have,
again,
the quarterback you have.
To your point on that point, Vegas has lost their last two games at home by an average of 23 points if you look at the Chiefs and the Bengals. And now they're going to go on the road on a holiday? That doesn't – you're right. That's not good.
Look, it's short week, and the coaching staff clearly has a lot of issues to figure out. They have not – remember I told you they'll get a small bump from the Gruden thing, which they did. But now we're kind of seeing the other side of that coin now, which is where the real coaching starts kicking. Coaching on a short week. I mean, this is going to be an incredibly important game. You're 5-5. This pretty much decides your season. You lose this, you go to 5-6. You're facing a real uphill battle with the football team, the Chiefs on the road, the Browns on the road, the Broncos, the Colts on the road, and the Chargers. That's your remaining schedule. You go 5-6 here, that's the season to me. Okay, looking at the remaining schedule, looking at those wins, the teams you have to play on the road, the Colts, the Chiefs, the Browns, and the Cowboys, that's it. The season's over. You're not winning those games. So look, I'm just going to be honest with you here. I don't feel good about Vegas. I know it's square as the day is long, but I do lean Dallas. I do lean the over. That mid afternoon game. It's hard for me to see anything else. Here's what I tell you: if you're people love playing props on Thanksgiving, right? Love playing props. It's been like it's a thing. I don't know why. Don't ask me, but people love playing props on Thanksgiving. I'm telling you, be very weary of the over props today. They usually get you. The one game I might actually look to play over props, even though I like the over in the Bears and Lions game, I do. I think there's going to be some explosive, dumb plays there by teams, and that's just going to be part of it. I do think that over props in the Raiders Dallas game could be profitable. Be careful. Don't take too many. We've talked about why playing overs on props is usually a minus EV proposition compared to playing unders. So that's all.
Okay. So what can the Raiders do today? And I guess it comes down to the 7.5 we're seeing now. Did we already lose the value on the Cowboys at 7.5?
Yeah, I mean, taking 7.5. I maybe try and look live, to be honest with you, if you really want. Buying the 7. If you have a site that buys the 7 for 10 cents, which there are plenty out there that do, 7 minus not 120, not the worst thing in the world. I don't absolutely hate that. I'm not a proponent of buying points. WGH is a platform that lets you buy, the 7.5, the 7 for 10 cents. If you have something like that, just kind of throwing out, some stuff that might help. So I do think that at 7.5, I think they cover it anyways. I think regardless, they cover the number, but I'd probably be looking for that 7, at least in my opinion. There is a 9 plus 1 or minus 125 right now on Ace for the Raiders. I'd be careful. I do not like this Raiders team today. I do like over at 51 right now. I'm starting to see, Joe, there are 51 and a half popping up. I think the only way the Raiders cover today is if they get things going offensively. You're not going to be Dallas the way that Kansas City did last week. They're going to rebound. There's going to be a focus on offense in the game plan. I'm sure that's kind of what they've been focusing on the past few days. Mike McCarthy is not a good head coach. On a short week, you can catch him, especially on one side of the football. Usually he'll focus on one side. So if that's going to be offense today, you might be able to put out something on him, on your offensive side of the football. So if Vegas is going to win this game, they need to expose whatever side of the football, in my opinion, McCarthy probably is focusing on, which is something that has been a knock against him his entire career. Whatever. I don't like McCarthy as coach, but I do think that's the way that the Raiders take advantage today. The ground and pound game with Jacobs, not going to work. You need to throw the ball a lot. Derek Carr is going to have to throw the ball a lot today.
So I haven't put anything in on this game yet. I have the Chicago game. Again, I was leaning over based off the number. The more I look at this, man, like the Raiders haven't scored more than 16 points in 3 games. Like since Ruggs, they've gone to shit.
I know.
They've literally gone to shit.
I know.
So I don't know. I don't know if I can take them to. I mean, I don't know what the team total is today. It's probably in the 20.
Right now, their team total is 21.5 plus 105. I'm sure you might be able to find some 21s. I honestly have not done a deep dive on the team total.
Oh, all right. So let's just hypothetically say they score 23 points or 4 points. Cowboys have to score 30 plus to cover. That's over the total.
Yeah, again, that's the way I'm looking at the game. I expect, Dallas's team total right now is 28.5, a little bit juiced, minus 120. I expect that to be the case. And you're looking at the team, I'm looking at a few other sites here. We got a 21.5 plus even money on the Raiders. So I do think that, you're probably looking at, Vegas scoring right around that number. I do think the lines have been incredibly sharp the past couple of weeks on the team totals. So that's the way I would be looking in this one. I do think the over, and I struggle to see Vegas, putting up a lot. I could see Dallas putting up a 35 spot today against that defense who has really struggled recently. So yeah, that's the way I feel about that game, Joe. Let's move on. I think we've discussed this game.
Yeah, this game's tricky to me. That Dallas game. All right, Buffalo, New Orleans. Dan, it's gone from 4 to 6.5. I've backed New Orleans 2 weeks in a row. They covered against the Titans, which I think they got hosed. I think they got hosed in that game, and they covered. To me, this is, if I'm just looking at it, New Orleans has the best rushing defense in football. The Buffalo Bills don't run the football. So Buffalo has struggled. And New Orleans at home will always play better, right? It's probably something to throw into the mix. But they're without everybody, man. Kamara's out. We don't know if Ingram's going to play. Their tackles are out. Guys on defense are out. In a way here, man, I loved Buffalo at 4. The line's moving around. And let's not forget, a couple of years ago, New Orleans and Buffalo played. People thought Buffalo had a shot, and New Orleans smacked them 47-10. That loss last week against Philadelphia didn't impress me. The Saints have lost 3 in a row now, and they've had a little bit of a slide. But Buffalo's still a better defensive team here. Don't look around that. And they're really good against the run. So I think that the Saints are going to have problems today against Buffalo's defense. And New Orleans 3-0 all time on Thanksgiving. Buffalo won in Dallas, if you remember, a couple of years ago, the last time they played. So those two matchups here. I like Buffalo to win the game. I'm just torn on the points.
I like the Saints. I think that this is the second easiest game of the day. That Dallas game is too tough. Look, people love Buffalo, and I got to be honest with you, I don't really see why. The past 5 weeks, they're not looking like the same team outside of that Jets game. You lose 34-31 on the road to the Titans, fine. You want to talk about a good performance, I can at least respect that. You beat the Dolphins 26-11. Game was not that close. Game was much closer than the score indicates. That game was pretty close there. They pulled away at the end. You lose to the Jaguars on the road. You bounce back against the Jets, and then you get your shit pushed in by the Colts. This Buffalo team has not been that good. They just haven't been that good in the past couple weeks. And, outside of that Jets game, I don't love their performances on the road. I don't love what they put together. This is not the team that we saw, go on that 4-game run earlier this year. This is a different team. They're what, 2-3 in their past 5. This is not the same Buffalo Bills that we saw. Now maybe things get fixed, but guess who they have on deck, Joe? The Patriots. It's a look ahead spot because that is a far more important game than this one. If Buffalo is 6-5, Pats are 7-4, Buffalo wins next week, regardless of they'll have first off the same record, and they'll also currently hold the tiebreaker. So that's a massive, massive game. I think Buffalo wins this game, but I'm not, it opened at 4. It's up to 6.5 now. I certainly don't feel good about that number. The Saints have, the Saints have not been any great shakes the past 3 weeks, okay? They haven't. You lose to the Falcons, divisional opponent. That's a bad loss, in my opinion. You go on the road to the Titans, and you play a really tough game, and you in a game that I thought they probably should have won. The Titans were up big. The Saints came all the way back. They were 2-point conversion away from tying that game. I thought the Saints in the second half were the much better team, thought they had a good chance to win that game. And in the Eagles game was a letdown spot off that Titans game. Well, now you have the Bills this week. You also have the Cowboys next week, to be fair, but it's very, very different type of look at spot, not a divisional game. The Saints need every win they can get. They're 5-5 at this point. They're second in the NFC South. If they lose this game, they're 5-6. Tampa wins this week. They're 8-3. Division's wrapped up regardless of what happens going forward. So to me, this is almost a must-win spot for New Orleans against a team in Buffalo who I think is incredibly overvalued the past 5 weeks. Their 2 wins are against Miami and the Jets. Seriously, they couldn't even beat Jacksonville, couldn't score a touchdown. let's not overvalue what Buffalo does, regardless of how good their defense is against the run, regardless of what Josh Allen was early in the season. The fact that he's still an MVP candidate is fucking laughable at this point. Seriously, absolute joke. The guy is not an MVP candidate with the way that he played last week against Indy, not, at home, not an MVP candidate with the way he played against Jacksonville on the road. That's an absolute joke for people who still think that Josh Allen should be MVP. Ha ha joke. I don't love the Saints. They're not any great shakes, but I do think that they're, in my opinion, this is the spot. If you're going to take a dog today, it's the Saints. And I don't think it's very close. I think it's the only dog on the board that really makes sense. Home team, Thanksgiving, short week, Buffalo coming off just an ass kicking against a team that, man, you probably feel pretty good about going into that game. They probably felt good going into that Colts game, knowing, we're coming off the, beat down of the Jets. We're looking good. We rebounded off the Jags loss, and at home they absolutely no-showed. What makes you think they're going to show up on the road today when they haven't done that except, against the Jets the past few weeks? I just look at everyone's going to be on Buffalo. Everyone's going to be on Buffalo tonight. The whole world's going to be on Buffalo tonight.
I like to know what the money's at because I feel like a lot of the people I've talked to are on the Saints.
I got you. Here we go. 78% of the bet on the Buffalo Bills, 87% of the money.
Wow. Okay. Just hear me out on some things when it comes to the Saints.
Sure.
We how like as Patriots fans or we cover the team, we always say that was like with Tom Brady. Like a lot of those numbers, with Tom Brady. A lot of the Saints stuff is with Drew Brees,
Yep.
But let's just look at it. When with Brees out of the mix, going back to last year when he was hurt, when they played teams with winning records, Sean Payton is 3-7 against the spread without him. So like. Dude, I get it. I backed the Saints 2 weeks in a row. I thought that if they could hold the Eagles under 130 yards, they'd win the game. They couldn't do. The Eagles, I don't know, maybe the Eagles are better than we think, or the Saints aren't as good as we think. One or the other.
Bad spot. Bad spot coming off a very important game against the Titans. Bad spot.
So I think
back-to-back roadies.
I think New Orleans will play better at home. I do. They're going to come home. But I think Buffalo's the better team. And I just think the Saints are hurt. So, like, to me, if you don't want to bet the game, it's fine. But it's just, I've already got burned by New Orleans 2 weeks in a row. And I'd love to fade Buffalo because the Patriots are on deck.
They covered against the Titans.
No, I'm saying they covered, but they lost last week is what I mean.
Yeah, so you got burned.
Yeah, I've hit them. What I'm saying is I hit them 1 week, I lost them next week.
Okay.
I don't feel good about going with them again this week, I guess is what I'm saying. 3 weeks in a row for me, I can't do it. So it's the late game. Anything can happen. Any thoughts on the total here?
I lean under, and I think that kind of does play out to what the type of game that the Saints want to play. That total's 45 and a half. To me, the clear under of the day, and I think that this is going to be a very competitive ball game. I do. I think this is going to be a one-score game back and forth throughout the entire game. I would not be shocked if the Saints won this game at home. Again, we just talked about how Buffalo has played the past few weeks. New Orleans has not been any better, but at least at home this year, they have played very well in certain situations. They beat the Packers 38-3 at home. They beat the Bucks 36-27 at home. When they have played very good talent at home so far, again, 2-game sample, small sample, it's not overreact, but when they played up to the level of competition they need to at home, they've dominated those two teams. The Bucks game was a really a fantastic performance. The Packers game early on in the season, hard to count as much as we do right now, but still, the Saints absolutely drilled them. Now, they've also had two clunkers. The Giants lost 27-21, and the Falcons lost 27-25. Two teams you probably play down to, you've had clunkers. But I think that right now the Saints are a team that plays up to their competition. You take a look at what they did against the Titans, very good game right there. And then the next week in a bad spot, the Eagles, back-to-back road games, coming off an emotional loss where, they were close in a big game that they cared about. They showed up. They didn't show up. And I kind of talked about that with you on the podcast, Joe. I didn't think it was a good spot for the Saints. I didn't like New Orleans last week. I didn't understand the line. I thought the line was bait and trap. I think this week they bounce back with a good home performance against a team that, probably overvalued in a lot of people's lines. They're more of a name than a team right now. They're 6-4. They're not even first in the AFC East. Okay, I mean this is a team that really has blown it the past couple weeks, and they just got their shit pushed in by Jonathan Taylor and the Colts. It doesn't matter. You could have put you back there last week, and you could have scored 4 touchdowns. I mean, really, the Buffalo defense, who's supposedly so good against the run, they got their shit pushed in last week. And yes, I'm very much aware that Ramczyk is going to be out. It sounds like, from what I've heard, that Teron Armstead is going to be in. He practiced limited on the on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so I think that he's going to be in. Mark Ingram, I don't know. I haven't heard anything. He took the day off Tuesday. My guess is that since he practiced limitedly on Monday and Wednesday, he'll be in as well. But yeah, you're going to miss Marcus. You're going to miss Marcus Davenport. Of course, you're going to miss Alvin Kamara. You're going to miss Ryan Ramczyk on that line. There's no doubt about it. But I still think, looking at the matchup, looking at the teams here, I think Buffalo, who has just had a very hard time. Josh Allen has also had a very hard time the past couple of weeks. I mean, he had another interception last week that they luckily called back on him. So it's I don't know. To me, I would just be very careful.
All right, dude. And then we got college football. So it sounds like we're kind of both torn on the late game. College football's got Fresno, San Jose State today. We did talk about this in length on our podcast if we want to get into it, but San Jose State needs this game to be bowl eligible. Fresno's 8-3, good record. They'd like to respond with a win here, but this is a spot where generally trends show you last 4 meetings under 4-0, and that the underdog is 3-0-1. So I look at it right away, and I do think San Jose State. I know Fresno's a weird up and down team, man. Weird up and down team with a good record. I know we talked about it, Dan, but 52.5 is the number. I wonder if people will take the under in this game.
Yeah, look, this is going to be a game that I think is, of two not exactly prolific offenses. I guess Fresno was early in the season. They've definitely fallen back to the pack a little bit, right? I think Hainer had a very good stretch run there. They've kind of fallen back to the pack in terms of offensive output. Look, to me, this is going to be very sharp. It looks like San Jose State is going to be the very, very sharp side today. I'm kind of surprised by that. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm surprised by, the love for San Jose State. Yeah, it's not a great spot for either one of these. It's not a great spot for San Jose coming off that Utah State, butt whooping. It's not a bad spot either. There's no real, craziness here. To me, it's the must win. Fresno State has to win to get, potentially be part of the Mountain West Championship. They win today, they're not in. But if San Diego State loses, who again is a 2.5 point home dog to the Boise State team over there, then they're in from the west side of the Mountain West. So I am very surprised that this is kind of where we are, and I'm surprised that the line is what it is. I look at this. I think it's a must win. I like the under personally in this game. If you want to play something, I like the under. I think that there's probably too many points. That this is a grinded out game. Maybe a 27-20 type game, something like that. That's what I see at least. More of a grinded outside game. Look, it's not a game I'm betting. I'll look second half, maybe see what there is, but I lean under. I think they'll probably give Ronnie Rivers the ball a lot today. And Jake Hainer, let's see what he can do. He had a miserable performance against Boise a couple weeks ago. This is a better team than what they faced last week in New Mexico. Let's see how they bounce back against a talented team.
All right, Matt Corral and the Ole Miss go to Mississippi State. We saw what Ole Miss did a week ago. Matt Corral's been, one of the guys in the Heisman race. And when it comes to this rivalry, Ole Miss has played very well. And I mentioned this the other day, but I think what Rodgers is doing right now for Mississippi State, I think he is the hottest quarterback in the country. Now, he might not be the best, but what he's doing for that team right now, he's hot. And I just kind of love what he's doing right now. A lot of talk, Stinkville, not Starkville. Ole Miss, you know what I mean? Kind of talking the talk a little bit here. Mississippi State won this game a year ago. Ole Miss won this game a year ago, 31-24. I feel a little redemption. The line's 1, 2, and I wonder what it'll be at kickoff. 2.5 right now. And you know that Ole Miss has played like, I don't know, like 3 true road games all year. So
Yeah,
I know they're 9-2, but of their 11 games, they played 3 on the road.
Yep. We talked about on the podcast. I'm already on Mississippi State PP style. I got the -1. It's now -2, -2.5. This is a top 10 ranked opponent giving points on the road to a unranked team. A spot that I really like. Everyone, the whole world's going to be, against Mississippi State today. That's not really a surprise given kind of what they have. And what they've done. But look, Ole Miss, again, you just kind of talked about it. This year when they face talent on the road at Alabama, lose by 21, on the road at Tennessee, win by 5. And I would argue this Tennessee team, not nearly as good as the Mississippi State team that they're facing today, especially in a rivalry game, on the road at Auburn, lose 31-20. So, yeah, I kind of compare the Mississippi State and the Auburn town. I think Auburn might be slightly more talented, but still similar type team, similar type game. Will Rogers, as you just talked about, has been absolutely fantastic. And the Ole Miss defense, the Ole Miss defense has been really good the past few weeks. I have to give it up to them. 14 versus Liberty, 19 versus A&M, 17 versus Vandy. Here's my problem. Outside of Liberty, who, by the way, has been bad this year, straight up, they've just been bad. Neither Texas A&M or Vanderbilt are high-flying offenses, and they still almost put up 20. Vandy put up 17 against you. Now, definitely look at the spot. I understand that. But I'm just looking at this team, and I really like the spot. Short week, Mississippi State in a rivalry game, coming off Tennessee State, where you really don't have to prep much for that team. So, are you getting an extra few days of prep versus an Ole Miss team where they were looking at past Vandy because that 31-17 score might be reflective of the situation. Just a 1-2 team on the road when they faced good talent on the road this year, they haven't shown up. And I'm gonna take that again here. I understand everyone loves Ole Miss, Matt Corral, everything they do, high flying offense and everything. I like the spot for Mississippi State. I'm sticking with my pick, and I gave it on the podcast. Hopefully, you got it at 1. It's at 2 now.
All right, then that's it, man. I got the false start early on here, so we got a lot of people listening. So we've given out picks for today. That's it. We're done. And I know there's some games tomorrow, Dan. I'm on the radio 7 to 10 tomorrow.
Cool.
Then I'm doing the weekly spread after that for 6 o'clock.
Nice.
And then we're back on Saturday morning.
Make sure to watch the weekly spread on what, NBC Boston?
NBC Sports Boston, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, yeah.
You get 3 different looks. You get Warren Sharp, who has a mustache and sounds like a smart guy. And then you have Claudia Bellafato, who is the great ambassador of WinBet. And then you get me. And Tom Giles does a great job. Loves gambling. And, dude, he's a huge fan of the podcast.
I'm a big fan of Giles. I'm a big fan of Giles, except when you guys love to hate on my Patriots picks. Other than that, I'm a big fan of you and Giles.
Yeah, Giles, he's a big fan of the big fan, and always mentions
Giles is a good dude. Big fan of
the podcast. All right, well, everybody, happy Thanksgiving. I guess I would ask you this, Dan. If there's a bunch of food on the table, what is the square play at the Thanksgiving dinner, and what is the live dog of the day on the table?
Square play is turkey, mashed potatoes. There's no question about that, right? Everyone, that's the classic square play. Give me the live dog going with either some yams or some sweet potatoes. I that's something that I enjoy. I know that I want to get my my double dog victory on those. So my fat ass will probably be having those today. So there you go.
My mom makes a broccoli casserole that is just literally broccoli, Ritz crackers chopped up with butter and cheese.
Whoa, that's surprising. Hey, by the way, apparently CeeDee Lamb is not playing today, which is very surprising. I did not. everything we had heard was that he's going to play. He's all ready to play. Jay Glazer apparently saying that CeeDee Lamb is out today. That's a stunner. That is a stunner, in my
What
opinion.
does that do to the line movement?
I guess you'll see it come back down to 9. Come back down to 7. Excuse me. If that's the case, I'm legitimately surprised that he will not play today.
You know what? Tony Pollard should be involved more today, don't you think?
I agree. If you're only going to have Gallup in the passing game, really, and Cedric Wilson has kind of taken a firm stranglehold on that second, third spot when Gallup's been out. So you'll have those two guys. You're going to absolutely have to use Tony Pollard today. You want to talk about a fantasy pick? Tony Pollard. I totally agree with that statement, Joe. Pollard is a guy I have in a lot of my leagues, and I will absolutely be inserting him in the lineups today.
What does he have for a prop? Is there like a? I'm trying to find it right now. Is there?
Let me pull up the old prop builder. See what we got here for Tony Pollard. See if I can find anything fun. My guess is that they're probably redoing the props right now. No, let's see. Tony Pollard receptions over 2.5 plus 145. How do you feel about that, Joey Murr?
Anytime touchdown plus 175.
I'd rather go over 2.5 receptions, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think you get him involved there.
Wow.
I think you get him involved. So.
Oh man, see, I'm not. I'm laying out that damn Lions one got me last year. That one got me. So, all right, Dan. Well, we'll get out of here, man. 11 o'clock. We got that big college basketball game at noon, and then football 12:30 today. Everybody enjoy your Thanksgiving and be safe. I have Downey ciders on ice, Dan.
Nice. I just wanted to say happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, everyone, for listening, supporting on us, hating on us, whatever. I get it. I understand the frustration when we lose. I just want to say thank you. Hope you guys all really happy Thanksgiving with your families. Go do something fun. Spend some time together. Make sure it's a good holiday because a lot of people didn't get it last year. So, enjoy it.
This is the lightest I've ever heard Dan Lifshitz talk in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, go.
Have an emotional night last night.
No, I had fun last night. I'm nice and happy. I'm just saying, go enjoy your Thanksgiving. Like, a lot of people didn't get that last year. I'm not really a mushy gushy guy, but I understand that there's a lot of people who just haven't had the luck to do that. So hopefully you're with your families. If you're not, hit me up. I'll be around because I'm working after today to kind of help some of the guys at our station make sure they can have a happy Thanksgiving. So.
All right, y'all. That is it. Enjoy the games. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, once again. This has been another edition of the Over Under Podcast.
Who you got?